GCSE Maths Paper 2 Complete Revision, 5-mark questions. 16 to the power of a fifth multiplied by 2 to the power of x is equal to 8 to the power of 3 over 4. Work out the exact value of x. 3 marks. This topic is laws of indices. The clue is in the question. We can see that we need to work out x. Notice that it's 2 to the power of x, which means that for the 16 to the power of a fifth, we need it in the form of 2 to the power of something. For the right hand side of the equation, 8 to the power of 3 out of 4, we need it in the form of 2 to the power of something. Now, the clue is in 16 and 8. We can rewrite 16 as 2 to the power of 4. For 8, we can rewrite it as 2 to the power of 3. So 2 to the power of 4, open and close bracket, to the power of a fifth, multiplied by 2 to the power of x is equal to open bracket, 2 to the power of 3, close bracket, to the power of 3/4, or 3 out of 4. Now in laws of indices, if you multiply the powers, so if there's a bracket, you multiply the powers, you don't add. The only time you add the powers if the bases are the same. So 2 to the power of 4, you multiply by a fifth, so 4 times a fifth is equal to 4 out of 5. For the right side of the equation, 2 to the power of 3 multiplied by 3 out of 4, so i.e. 3 times 3 out of 4 is equal to 9 out of 4. Notice that the bases are the same. It's in the form of 2 to the power of 4 out of 5, 2 to the power of x, and 2 to the power of 9 out of 4. Now, because we have the same base, now we could just form a linear equation. So 4 out of 5 plus x is equal to 9 out of 4. Now, to make x the subject, 4 out of 5 moves to the right of the equation to make it minus 4 out of 5. X is equal to 9 out of 4 minus 4 out of 5. So in your calculator, this is equal to 29 out of 20. Now, if you click the SD button in your calculator, this will convert to a decimal, 1.45. So the final answer for question 18, x is equal to 1.45. Expand and simplify 3, open bracket, 2y minus 5, close bracket, plus 7, open bracket, y plus 2, close bracket, 2 marks. So to solve this question, expand means multiply each expression inside the brackets. So starting off with 3 times 2y. 3 times 2y is equal to 6y. 3 multiplied by minus 5 is equal to minus 15. So that's the first set of brackets done. Moving on to the second set, 7 multiplied by y is equal to 7y. 7 multiplied by 2 is equal to plus 14. So here are the sets of brackets. So expand. So 6y minus 15 plus 7y plus 14. Now, to simplify, we collect the like terms. 6y plus 7y is equal to 13y. Minus 15 plus 14 is equal to minus 1. So 13y minus 1 is the final answer for part A. Part B, factorize fully 6x squared plus 15x. So to factorize, we need to work out what's common in both of these expressions. So as you can see, between 6 and 15, 3 is common both, because it's multiple of 3. Between x squared and x is common in both, so that means overall 3x is common in both, so leave it on the outside. And then inside, how do we get 6x squared? 3x times 2x. And how to get 15x? 3x multiplied by positive 5. So that is the final factorization for part B. Part C, make g the subject of the formula f is equal to 3g plus 11. So we've rewritten the formula. Now, the purpose of this question is to make g the subject. We have plus 11 on the right side of the equation, but we need to subtract both sides by 11, or you could say that plus 11 moves to the left side of the equation to make it minus 11, so that 3g is left on its own. So subtracting 11 on both sides. So f minus 11 is equal to 3g. To make g the subject, we need to divide both sides by 3. So g is equal to f minus 11 divided by 3. Therefore, the final answer for part C, g is equal to f minus 11 divided by 3. Notice these type of questions are very common in all question 1 past papers. So there might be different sets of questions that could come. The graph gives information about the volume v liters of petrol in the tank of Jim's car after it has traveled a distance of d kilometers. Part A, find the gradient of the graph. 2 marks. For this question, let's label the 2 important coordinates that will help us work out the gradient of the graph. So the first set of coordinates, 0, 27, and the second set of coordinates, 300 and 0. Now, how do we work out gradient of a graph? So the formula for gradient is equal to y2 take away y1 divided by x2 take away x1, or change in y divided by change in x. So y2 coordinate will be 0. So 0 minus 27. That's for the y-axis. Now for the changes in x, so x2 would equal to 300 and x1, 0. So m is equal to 0 minus 27 divided by 300 minus 0. So m is equal to minus 27 out of 300. In your calculator, this will equal to minus 0.09. So the final answer for part A, gradient is equal to minus 0.09. Part B, interpret what the gradient of the graph represents. So the gradient of the graph represents the changes in volume of petrol for every distance traveled. That is your final answer for part B. Simplify x cubed, open close bracket, to the power of 5. So this topic is laws of indices. So anything with brackets, the powers will always multiply. So 3 times 5 is equal to 15. So the answer to question 1 part A is equal to x to the power of 15. Part B, expand and simplify 4, open bracket, x plus 3, close bracket, plus 7, open bracket, 4 minus 2x, close bracket. So let's expand the first set of brackets. 4 times x is equal to 4x. 4 times 3 is equal to plus 12. 7 times 4 is equal to 28. 7 times minus 2x is equal to minus 14x. Now collect the like terms together and simplify. 12 plus 28 is equal to 40. 4x minus 14x is equal to minus 10x. So 40 minus 10x. Factorize fully 15x cubed plus 3x squared y. So to factorize this, you need to understand what is common in both of these expressions. So 3x squared is common in both 15x cubed and 3x squared y. So 3x squared is on the outside. So how do we get to 15x cubed? 3x squared multiplied by 5x. So 5x on the inside, and we're left with plus y. So the full factorization is 3x squared, open bracket, 5x plus y, close bracket. The diagram shows the positions of 3 points A, B, and C on a map. The bearing of B from A is 070 degrees. Angle ABC is 50 degrees. AB is equal to CB. Work out the bearing of C from A. So this is from bearing. Now, the rule for bearing is that all angles need to be in 3 digits. So let's start off. So bearing of B from A. So bearing of B from A. So it means this angle is equal to 070 degrees. Remember, it must be written in 3 digits. If the question's asking to work out the bearing of A from C, you need to work out this angle. But for this particular question, we only need to work out the bearing of C from A. So it means all of these angles. Notice that this triangle has two sides equal to each other. So AB is equal to CB, and these two lines represents isosceles triangle. Why? Because number one, the two sides are equal to each other, and also the angles at the base of the isosceles triangles. So in other words, these two angles are always equal to each other. So to get to that stage, remember, angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So 180 degrees minus 50 degrees is equal to 130 degrees. So to work out each angle, we need to half it. So 130 degrees divided by 2 is equal to 65 degrees, 065, remember, 3 digits. So if this is 065 degrees, this is also 05 degrees. So to work out the bearing of C from it, so all of these angles together, the 70 degrees and the 65 degrees, add them together. So 70 degrees plus 65 degrees is equal to 135 degrees. 3 kilograms of flour cost £4 and 5 pence. 5 kilograms of flour and 6 kilograms of sugar cost £11 and 85 pence. Work out the cost of 2 kilograms of flour and 5 kilograms of sugar. Step number 1, we'll start with 3 kilograms of flour that cost £4 5 pence. We need to work out the cost for 1 kilogram of flour. So £4 5 pence divided by 3 is equal to £1 and 35 pence. So for 5 kilograms of flour and 6 kilograms of sugar cost £11 and 85 pence. Now, we already worked out 1 kilogram of flour cost £1 and 35 pence. So 5 kilograms of flour means 5 multiplied by £1 and 35 pence. This is equal to £6 and 75 pence. This is the cost for 5 kilograms of flour. Now, we don't know the price for 6 kilograms of sugar. However, we know that the total cost for the 5 kilograms of flour and the 6 kilograms of sugar cost £11 and 85 pence. So we can rearrange the formula to work out the cost for 6 kilograms of sugar. So £11 and 85 pence, so that's the total cost, minus £6 and 75 pence, that's the price for 5 kilograms of flour, will give us the price for 6 kilograms of sugar, which is £5 and 10 pence. Now we need to work out 1 kilogram of sugar, £5 and 10 pence divided by 6 is equal to 0.8. So 1 kilogram of flour is equal to £1 35 pence, and 1 kilogram sugar is equal to 0.85. Now the question is asking for to work out the cost of 2 kilograms of flour and 5 kilograms of sugar. So to solve this question, 2 multiplied by £1 and 35 pence plus 5 multiplied by 0.85. This will equal to £6 and 95 pence. So the final answer to work out the cost of 2 kilograms of flour and 5 kilograms of sugar will equal to £6 and 95 pence. Shakir has to complete 2 tests. He can either pass or fail each test. The probability that he will pass the first test is 0.87. If he passes the first test, the probability he will pass the second test is 0.94. If he fails the first test, the probability he will pass the second test is 0.73. Part A, complete the probability tree diagram for this information, 2 marks. For this question, it's important to understand how to solve this question. Now, we are given the probability of passing the first test 0.87. We can easily work out the probability to fail the test because all probabilities add up to 1. So 1 minus 0.87 is equal to 0.13. So that concludes the first test. Now to fill in the second test, we need to use the information given in the question. If he passes the first test, the probability he will pass the second test is 0.94. To work out the probability he will fail the test, 1 minus 0.94 in the calculator to equal to 0.06. If he fails the first test, the probability that he will pass the second test is 0.73. So to work out the probability they will fail the test, 1 minus 0.73 is equal to 0.27. Part B. Work out the probability that Shakir passes at least one of the tests. 3 marks. So to solve this question, we first need to work out probability of fail and fail. So probability of fail and fail. Now, and rule means multiply. So 0.13 multiplied by 0.27. In your calculator, this will equal to 0.0351. Now, to work out the probability that they pass at least one of the tests, we subtract it with the probability of 1. So 1 minus 0.0351. This is equal to 0.9649. So the final answer for 10B is equal to 0.9649. ABC and EDC are straight lines. EA is parallel to DB. EC is equal to 8.1 centimeters. DC is equal to 5.4 centimeters. DB is equal to 2.6 centimeters. Part A, work out the length of AE, 2 marks. This topic is similar shapes. So notice that the side EA is parallel to DB. We need to work out the scale factor from DB to EA. We also notice that EDC is a straight line. Now D is common in both ED and DC. Therefore, we also need to work out the scale factor between ED and DC. So how do we work out the length of AE? So EC, which is the longer side, EC divided by DC is equal to AE divided by DB. So based on the question, let's fill in all the necessary information that we know so far. EC is equal to 8.1 centimeters. DC is equal to 5.4 centimeters. And also, we know DB is equal to 2.6 centimeters. So we can rearrange to make AE the subject. So EC divided by DC multiplied by DB will equal to AE. So 8.1 divided by 5.4 multiplied by 2.6. So in your calculator, this will equal to 3.9 centimeters. AC is equal to 6.15 centimeters. Work out the length of AB, 2 marks. So once again, the same strategy we used for part A will be applied to part B. So EC divided by DC once again, but this time make it equal to AC divided by BC. So, but to get AB, we need to work out BC. Why? Because we know EC is equal to 8.1 centimeters. We also know DC is equal to 5.4 centimeters and AC is equal to 6.15 centimeters. So the best way to solve this question, so 8.1 swaps places with BC. So BC divided by 5.4 is equal to 6.15 divided by 8.1. Now to make BC the subject, BC is equal to 6.15 divided by 8.1 multiplied by 5.4. So in your calculator, this will equal to 4.1 centimeters. Okay, we already know total length of AC is equal to 6.15 centimeters. We are also aware BC is equal to 4.1 centimeters, but we need to work out the length AB. So how do we do that? AB plus BC is equal to AC. So in other words, AB, which is the missing side, plus BC, so 4.1 centimeters, is equal to AC, 6.15. Now to make AB the subject, 6.15 minus 4.1. So in your calculator, this will equal to 2.05 centimeters. Andrew invests 4,500 in a savings account for 2 years. the account pays compound interest at a rate of 3.4% per year. Calculate how much Andrew has in this saving account at the end of 2 years. 2 marks. To solve this question, it is important to know the compound interest formula. So to work out compound interest is final amount equal to original amount multiplied by 1 plus interest rate divided by 100 to the power of n. N represents the number of years, R represents the interest rate in the form of percentage. So to solve this question, the original amount is equal to 4,500 and the interest rate is at 3.4%. So let's plug everything into the formula. 4,500 multiplied by 1 plus 3.4 divided by 100 to the power of 2, so that's 2 years. In the calculator, this is equal to £4,811.20 to 2 decimal places. Solve 5x minus 14 is equal to 52 minus x. For this question, we need to collect all the x's on one side and all the integers on the other side of the equation. So 5x minus 14 is equal to 52 minus x. So minus x moves to the left side of the equation to make it positive x, and the minus 14 moves to the right side of the equation to make it plus 14. So add x on both sides, so 6x minus 14 is equal to 52. So then plus 14 on both sides. So 6x is equal to 66. So we make x the subject, x is equal to 66 divided by 6. X is equal to 11. RS and ST are two sides of a regular 12-sided polygon. RT is a diagonal of the polygon. Work out the size of angle STR. You must show your working. For this question, it's important to understand this is a polygon. We need to work out the exterior and the interior angles. So to work out exterior angles, we are given the clue that this is a 12-sided regular polygon. So to work out the exterior angle is equal to 360 divided by number of sides. So 360 divided by 12 is equal to 30 degrees. So this angle is equal to 30 degrees. We can also work out the interior angle. So this angle is equal to 150 degrees. Why? Because angles in a straight line add up to 180 degrees. 180 degrees minus 30 degrees is equal to 150 degrees. Now notice that in regular polygon, these two angles are equal to each other, and notice that this forms an isosceles triangle. So these two regular polygons, the angles are equal to each other, and as mentioned earlier, this forms an isosceles triangle. So to work out STR, need to do 180 degrees minus 150 is equal to 30 degrees. Now 30 divided by 2 is equal to 15 degrees. So in a 12-sided polygon, the size of angle STR is equal to 15 degrees. Solve 14n greater than 11n plus 6. So for this question, so this is from inequalities, we need to rearrange the formula. So 14n stays as it is, 11n moves to the left side to make it minus 11n. So 14n is greater than 11n plus 6, so you rewrite the question. So we subtract minus 11n on both sides. So we're left with 3n is greater than 6. Now to make n the subject, n is greater than 6 divided by 3, n is greater than 2. So that's the final answer for part A. Part B, on the number line below, show the set of values for x for which minus 2 is less than x plus 3 less than equal to 4. Now normally for inequalities, the middle should be just x, but we are dealing with x plus 3. Now the best way to solve this question, we need to subtract both sides of the equation by minus 3 to make sure that the middle set would be x. So subtract both sides by minus 3 and also the middle. So we're left with minus 5 is less than x less than equal to 1. So we now draw the circle. So minus 5 and 1. Notice that for anything that's less than equal to or greater than equal to, the circles are always shaded. Now just connect them together. So minus 5 less than x less than equal to 1. The number line has been shown below. So that will be your 3 marks secured for part B. The diagram shows an empty tank in the shape of a cylinder. The cylinder has radius 15 centimeters and height 43 centimeters. Water flows into the tank at a rate of 0.47 liters per minute. Calculate the number of minutes it will take to completely fill the tank. Give your answer correct to nearest minute. 4 marks. For this question, you need to understand the correct unit conversions, and also you need to understand how to work out volume of cylinder. Now, you could double check if the volume of cylinder does come in the formula sheet. If not, you can easily memorize by looking at this image. So you can see that to work out the volume of cylinder, you could do pi r squared, which is area of circle, multiplied by height. This will equal to the volume of cylinder. So volume of cylinder is equal to pi r squared h. So let's plug in everything we know so far. Radius is 15 and height is 43. So pi multiplied by 15 squared multiplied by 43. In the calculator, this will equal to 9,675 pi centimeter cube. Now to convert centimeter cube to liters, we need to understand that 1 liter is equal to 1,000 centimeter cube. To get to liters, we need to do 9,675 pi divided by 1,000. This is equal to 387 out of 40 pi liters. Now, the clue is in the third sentence. Water flows into the tank at a rate of 0.47 liters per minute. Now, they haven't given us an equation or formula. We can form our own formula. So liters per minute means liters per minute is equal to liters divided by minutes. So to work out minutes, we need to do liters divided by liters per minute. So 387 out of 40 pi divided by 0.47, this is equal to 65 minutes to the nearest minute. The diagram shows two similar solid triangular prisms, A and B. The volume of prism A is 58.806 centimeter cube. The volume of prism B is 1587.762 centimeter cube. The cross section of each prism is a right angle triangle. So these two are area of cross section labeled in gray. For prism B, the length of the base of the triangle is 8.1 centimeters and the area of the triangle is 43.74 centimeters squared. The height of the triangle for prism A is h centimeters. Work out the value of h, 4 marks. So this topic is similar shapes. Now you need to understand how to solve this question. So we need to know 3 important formulas. Length is equal to scale factor, area is equal to scale factor squared, and volume is equal to scale factor cube. Now we can easily work out the scale factor from the volumes of A and B. So how do we get from A to B? We need to go the opposite direction. So 1587.762 divided by 58.806. So this is equal to 27. So this unit is in centimeter cube. And because this is our volume scale factor, we need to get into length scale factor. Now to get to length scale factor, we need to cube root. So cube root of 27 is equal to 3. Now we can work out the height based on the information in prism B. So to work out an area of right angle triangles, a half times base times height is equal to the area of right angle triangle. Now we already know the base is 8.1 centimeters. We don't know height, but we do know that area of triangle is equal to 43.74 3.74 centimeters squared. So a half times base times height. So a half multiplied by 8.1 multiplied by the height which we need to work out is equal to 43.74 centimeters squared. So to solve this question, you could do a half times 8.1 and then times h is equal to 43.74. Now 8.1 divided by 2 is equal to 4.05. 43.74 divided by 4.05 will give you 10.8. Alternatively, you could also go with 2 multiplied by 43.74 and then divided by 8.1, which is equal to 10.8. So this height is equal to 10.8, and this height we don't know. But the good news is we do know the scale factor, which is 3. That's the length scale factor. So we need to convert. So we need to divide 10.8 by 3. This is equal to 3.6. So the final answer for h is equal to 3.6 centimeters. ABCD is a trapezium. AD is parallel to BC. Calculate the area of triangle BCD. Give your answer correct to 1 decimal place. 4 marks. This topic is sine rule. So for higher students only, grade 6. So to solve this question, we need to know the formula for finding a side in sine rule. So to work out a side using sine rule, a divided by sine A is equal to b divided by sine B. We can easily work out, we don't know BD, so BD divided by sine 112 degrees is equal to 7.9 divided by sine 42. So to work out BD is equal to 7.9 divided by sine 42 multiplied by sine 112. X is equal to 10.95 centimeters. So this is equal to 10.95. Now to work out area of triangle, because this is not a right angle triangle, the area of any triangle is equal to a half AB sine C. So we know the two sides, and also if you notice that this forms an alternate angle. So if this angle is equal to 42 degrees, this angle is also equal to 42 degrees because of alternate angles. So a half multiplied by 10.95 multiplied by 15.3 multiplied by sine 42. In the calculator, this is equal to 56 centimeters squared to 1 decimal place. Work out the value of x. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. Let's label everything we know so far. Adjacent is always next to the angle. Hypotenuse is the longest side. And opposite is opposite the angle. So normally for right angle triangle, there are 2 methods, Pythagoras and trigonometry. Pythagoras cannot be applied because we need at least 2 known sides. So for this question, trigonometry can be solved. SOHCAHTOA. Now, let's work out which method can be used to solve this problem. We already know the hypotenuse. Adjacent is the side that we need to work out. And also, we know the angle is 53 degrees. So we can eliminate sine rule. So we can also eliminate tan. So the best method, cos. Cos is equal to adjacent divided by hypotenuse. Do we know the cos angle? Yes. Cos 53 is equal to x divided by 14.5. To work out x, you need to do cos 53 multiplied by 14.5 to get rid of the fraction. So x equals 14.5 times cos 53. In your calculator, this will equal to 8.7263178357. But the question is asking to give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. So 6 determines whether we need to round our answer up or down. Because it's greater than 5, it means the final answer will be 8.73 to 3 significant figures. Here is a right angle triangle. The shape below is made from 2 of these triangles. Work out the perimeter of the shape. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. So we know that the shape is made from 2 of these triangles, which are identical. Notice that the height for both of the triangles are exactly 8 millimeters. Now the question is asking to work out the perimeter of the shaded shape. So let's label everything we know so far. So if the bottom triangle, the base is 10 millimeters, the top triangle, A is also equal to 10 millimeters. This red line is the length that we need to work out. But the only way to work this out is to first work out the hypotenuse. Now, because this is perimeter of the shaded shape, it's only involving around the particular shape. So we know this is 10, 8, 8. Now we need to work out the hypotenuse. So to work out hypotenuse, we use Pythagoras' theorem because it involves 3 sides. Given that we already know 2 sides, we can work out the missing side. So C is equal to square root of A squared plus B squared. So C is equal to the square root of 10 squared plus 8 squared. So the hypotenuse is equal to 2 root 41 or 12.8. My advice would be to keep the hypotenuse as 2 root 41. The reason for that is I don't want it to affect your final answer. So make sure you leave it full. The only time you round up or round down the answer is if you fully got the final answer for the particular question. But for this particular case, just focus on keeping it as it is, 2 root 41. You could use 12.8, it's up to you, but the safest option would be to stick with 2 root 41. Okay, now the full hypotenuse is equal to 2 root 41. Now we can easily work out the red line. Given that the A is equal to 10 millimeters, so the hypotenuse is 12.8, 2 root 41. We can work out the red line. So 2 root 41 minus 10, this is equal to minus 10 plus 2 root 41, or 2.8, so that's the red line, so the missing length. So now we have labeled 2.8. Now all you need to do is just add them together. So minus 10 plus 2 root 41 plus 2 root 41 plus 10 plus 8 plus 8. In your calculator, this will give you 16 plus 4 root 41. Now, if you click the SD button in your calculator, this will equal to 41.612,49695. Now, the question is asking to round your answer to 3 significant figures. One determines whether we need to round up or round down. So, the answer has been rounded down to 41.6 to 3 significant figures. Shape S is 1/4 of a solid sphere center O. The volume of S is 576 pi centimeter cube. Find the surface area of S. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. You must show you're working. 5 marks. So for this question, lots of students, when they see 5-mark question, they skip it immediately. That's a big mistake. Solving this question fully correctly will help you gain 5 marks, which will make a huge difference for your exam. Now, why are the 2 formulas given to us in a box? They are given for a reason. It's to help us make our calculations a lot easier. We also know that the volume of S is 576 pi and shape S is 1/4 of a solid sphere. The question says find the surface area of S and the answer needs to be 3 significant figures. Now, how do we approach this question? Okay, the question says surface area of S. Normally, surface area of sphere is equal to 4 pi r squared. Do we know the radius? No, we don't. That's a big problem. But we do have a little help from volume of sphere. Volume of S is 576 pi. So we can use the formula volume of sphere, given that the value is already 576 pi, make it equal to 4 out of 3 pi r cubed, and multiply by 1/4 because shape S is 1/4 of a solid sphere. So let's underline the important information. Volume of S is 576 pi. The surface area of S is what we need to work out, and also the answer needs to be 3 significant figures. So let's start with volume of sphere. 576 pi is equal to 4 out of 3 pi r cubed multiplied by 1/4. Now, simplify the right side of the equation. 4 out of 3 pi multiplied by 1/4. In your calculator, this will simplify to 1/3 pi. So 576 pi is equal to 1/3 pi r cubed. Now we need to make radius the subject. So r cubed is equal to 576 pi divided by 1/3 pi. Now the pi's cancel out. In your calculator, when you put 576 pi divided by 1/3 pi, r cubed is equal to 1728. However, we need it in radius, not r cubed. So the opposite of cube is cube root. So we cube root both sides of the equation. So the 3's on the left side of the equation cancel out. So just left with radius. Now cube root of 1728 in your calculator will give you 12. So the radius has been solved. Now we can work out the surface area of a sphere. But we need to ask ourselves a very important question. What are we finding? We are finding surface area. Now, surface area of this particular shape is composed of area of two faces that have two semicircles and an area of curved face. We need to work out for each one. Surface area of sphere is equal to 4 pi r squared. That's the formula already been given to us. Also, we know that shape S is 1/4 of a solid sphere. So, 1/4 multiplied by 4 pi r squared. Plus the area of semicircle. Remember, area of a circle is equal to pi r squared. Semicircle is half of a circle. So, pi r squared divided by 2. Because there are two semicircles in shape S, we do pi r squared divided by 2 plus pi r squared divided by 2. Fun fact. If you combine two semicircles, it forms one full circle. Now the 4's cancel out, so we're left with pi r squared plus 2 lots of pi r squared divided by 2. Now the 2's cancel out. As mentioned earlier, if you combine two semicircles, it forms one full circle. So surface area is equal to pi r squared plus pi r squared. That's 2 lots of pi r squared. So 2 pi r squared. Do we know the radius? Absolutely. The radius is 12. So just plug it into the formula. Surface area is equal to 2 times pi times 12 squared. This is equal to 288 pi. How did you get that? Remember, 12 squared is equal to 144. 144 times 2 is 288. 288 times pi, 288 pi. Now, in your calculator, this will give you 904.778684,234. The question's asking for 3 significant figures. Now, 7 determines whether we need to round up or round down. Because 7 is greater than 5, it means we round up to 905 centimeters squared to 3 significant figures. And that is your 5 marks secured for this question.